Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review a film that I got to see earlier this week. That was a late release from 2016 called Passengers. Now, this film is starring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, and it was directed by Morton Tildum. And I remember when I first heard about this film, I was very excited. An original sci-fi with some very big name charismatic actors that are going to be in it. And when the reviews started coming in, it got very negative reviews and a lot of complaints from critics about misleading advertising with the trailers, which, to be fair, they left out something really big and important, which I guess to talk a little bit about this film's about Chris Pratt's character on this ship, and he's woken up 90 years too early and winds up waking up Jennifer Lawrence and then dealing with the ramifications of that and them getting to know each other and also spiraling into giant disaster movie. So right off the bat, I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. It was a film that I really appreciated a lot more, and I guess it really came from my low expectations going in based off of the reviews that I heard about this film. And to be perfectly honest, this was a really fun time. And Morton Tildum does a fantastic job of keeping up the pace of this film. You never feel bored, and this hits in a 2 hour film. And the way that this film is told, and with all the visuals and everything, and this is a big undertaking because this is a huge science fiction film taking place on one giant futuristic ship. And the way this was all put together is actually really impressive. It was how the story was conveyed was interesting and well done. And in terms of the biggest flaws that I could potentially say about this film was that it's a little bit inconsistent when it comes to the story. You could actually cut this film this into three very distinct parts, and this was written by John Space. And I think the writing is where this film lacks, and with some of the depth to which it goes to hitting on some of its themes, or what takes us away from being a fantastic film and especially a fantastic original science fiction film to just a really fun above average time at the movies. And it can be really distinctly put into three different parts, with the first third of this film is basically just Chris Pratt dealing with being on the ship alone. And it's pretty devastating watching him slowly losing hope and getting to a point and really only having one being, I should say, that he's actually connects to, and that's a robotic bartender played by Michael Sheen. And moving into the second third of this film, when he takes on waking up Jennifer Lawrence and trying to hide that secret and falling in love with her. And that was a very interesting romantic part, and the charisma of these two actors really stands out in that part of the film. And then the third part of the film is you were getting to where this ship is potentially going down. It turns into a giant big budget disaster movie towards the end of the film. And I guess from a tonal perspective and just from keeping things going smooth throughout the film, that kind of takes away from it. And unlike a lot of the reviews that I heard where it's just like, oh, Chris Pratt's character is a super creepy guy, and they completely leave that out of the marketing, which they do, but they do go taking steps to actually deal with him dealing with that ramification and those feelings and the guilt that he feels. Does it thoroughly go through it and really make a complete believable arc? It at least digs into it a bit and actually points towards that and doesn't just gloss over it. Would it would have been better if it fully went into those themes? Yes, but overall I think it does a pretty good job. And the big thing is this is a really highly entertaining film. The visuals, the special effects are fantastic, absolutely amazing. And also the production design, which this film got nominated for an Oscar for. I'm like, how did Passengers get nominated for any Oscars this year? It deserved it. This created such a believable, cool, futuristic ship, and everything is unique and works so well together and really builds, like, you're on this ship and you believe that you're stranded on this ship with these characters, and that's really cool. Now, the third act of the film gets bogged down with some exposition and introduction of a particular character, which I'm not going to go too in depth about it, but if you just watch the trailer, you can tell there's a couple other actors in this film. They were really just kind of like plot devices and stuff like that, which is kind of disappointing, but the big thing is the two main characters, Chris Pratt's character and Jennifer Lawrence's character. Jennifer Lawrence's character is distinctly different than the other characters she plays, and really you're going in thinking, oh, they're just going to be playing themselves. She plays this socialite who's a reporter and a journalist and a writer, and you can really see how that builds into her life and that urban-esque aspects of her life and how that affects her relationships. That's actually pretty interesting. And Chris Pratt, for the most part, is Chris Pratt, but honestly, Chris Pratt's so ridiculously charismatic and interesting and funny, just makes it so enjoyable, and the delivery of his lines are fantastic, and their charisma is just like, that's why you believe this movie actually works, is the two of them. And I was actually really pleased with that. And some of the other standout things in this film was this film overall was really well put together, and the cinematography is gorgeous and beautiful. And it's by Rodrigo Prieto, who's also up for an Oscar this year for Silence, which, if you've heard my review for Silence, how much I love that. And you can tell that the same kind of care and hard work and artfulness was brought to this film as a film like Silence, because Prieto's actually, based off of the work that I've seen this year, he's actually becoming one of my favorite cinematographers, because he really knows how to make a gorgeous film. And the music in this really stood out. And this is up for an Oscar. And to be perfectly honest, I'd probably give the Oscar to this film for soundtrack, which is by Thomas Newman. And it's because it's not just one basic kind of theme of music that goes throughout and just keeps going throughout with the little variations. This goes into using different instruments and different kinds of music that really fit each scene and build exactly what they want you to feel in each scene. And the style of each theme is, there's a lot of care and a lot of attention to detail put into the soundtrack, and it was actually really fantastic. Overall, this is a really fun time at the movies. Is this the most perfect film? No, it's not. And please don't go in thinking that you're going to get the most like Ex Machina level fantastic, really deep, thoughtful, original sci-fi. This is a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable. I know I'm going to be adding this to my DVD collection. I really enjoyed Passengers, and I'm going to give it a very solid B minus.